So thank you very much, Peter, for joining us today. I hope you're well.
Yeah,
And
well, thank you.
so I'd like to just start by asking you to maybe talk a bit about yourself and tell us who you are and a bit about your background and what you do for a living.
Yeah, we have one thing in common. I also studied at EBS, European Business School, a
Yeah.
couple of years ago. And since I financed the studies by myself, which means that I had a bank loan, the question was, how can I pay back the money as quick as possible? So if you want to earn money, you go to the money industry. And that's what I did. I was an entrepreneur with some co-founders, and I worked in the private equity industry. So we financed small and medium-sized companies in Germany. I did the fundraising, so I'm a sales guy, and everything went fine until one day I got a bad news, which was the diagnosis of cancer. So I was facing a real problem compared to everything what I had experienced so far. But I won the fight against cancer, so since then I'm healthy. But I understood that lifetime is limited, and then I started all over again. So first step was rescuing my family and my marriage. Still married to the same wife, and I quit my job in the financial industry and started as a consultant and author for leadership and change.
Wow, that's quite a story you have. What would you say fulfills you most about your job now compared to the transition you have made from actually understanding that life is so limited and that you have to make the most out of it?
If at least from my own experience, and I have the honor because I'm an entrepreneurial coach as well, so I'm talking to a lot of people about personal stuff. And what I experience is that if you have no answer to the question, what is your sense, your purpose in life, then money is a good answer. So chasing money and becoming rich is for a lot of people a purpose. And for me, it was the same. But chasing money can lead to a trap, because when you chase it too much, you're not free anymore. So maybe you're rich, but you're not free. And I know a lot of guys who are rich, but who are not free. And for me, real freedom is if I have self-determined time. So if I can choose what I do with my time, choosing the clients who I'm working with, or choosing if I spend money with my job or go home, this is what is most valuable for me and in my job. Of course, if you are living without money, that's not a good choice neither. So it's a question of balancing making money and having the freedom to be the god of your own time. And that's what I precious most.
Okay, well, so you would claim that most people live in a golden cage in a way, and don't really know what they value most or they should be valuing most. Is that in a way, or your diagnosis made you realize that?
Yeah, I think when I'm talking with people about those personal issues, the situation in most cases becomes kind of quiet, because people don't like to face the topic of being endless and dying one day. So what happens is they push it to the side and live a nice life. And there are so many opportunities where you can spend money for. But having the newest smartphone or driving the biggest car is not real happiness. It's maybe like a drug, But if you are really facing a situation where you understand that lifetime is limited, maybe it's not so important to chase all the time the money. Because, for example, when you're a father or a mother, the children become old and mature so quickly. I remember my son when he was 6 and going to the first grade, and now he's 21, and it was so quickly. And I don't get the time back. And if you're coming to a situation where you regret that you spent the time with the wrong topics, then it's not a nice situation. And my experience is that people don't take the time to think about it, and even worse, don't have the courage to make the needed changes in their life.
Okay. Wow. What would you say?
I was not courageous too, because I knew that I was on the wrong track when I was working in the financial industry. So my marriage was bad, and I spent too much time with the job, didn't see my son so much. But I didn't have the courage to change it by my own. So I needed this kick in my ass due to the health situation to really understand what's going on and then finally change something. So talking about it and giving nice advice is simple, but being in the situation and changing something is really a big topic for most people.
Wow. What would you say would be or was the best career decision you have ever made?
Becoming an entrepreneur, which was the decision right from my studies. So I was never employed in my life.
Okay. Wow. So going back to kind of the student thing, what do you miss most about being a student? Or what made you want to become an entrepreneur?
The studies at EBS was quite intense. So it was only 4 years, and now when you're doing a bachelor, I think you only have 3 years time. But for me, 4 years was so quick. And the best part of the whole 4 years was 1 year which I spent abroad in New Zealand and in the US. And this kind of freedom and being young and having no responsibilities was the best time in my life. So this is actually something I miss a little bit, because when you're becoming older, you're getting more stuck in life, in responsibilities, and you think more about risks, and you become too much mature. So being young and having no liabilities and responsibilities is the best time you actually have. And I only can recommend to use this time to ask uncomfortable questions, to explore new things, try things out, do a lot of internships, and don't try to be liked. Be an uncomfortable intern. Ask questions, ask stupid questions, annoy the people to understand and to make situations better.
Well, I will definitely keep that in mind. Obviously Corona has been very difficult for us students as well. We have been faced with the sad fate that we could not make EBSpreneurship happen this year, but obviously could find an alternative, which is good too, but obviously a completely different thing now. What do you think changes or has changed in the attitude of people due to Corona now? Like generally, or what have you seen?
Mm-hmm. There was an article which was shared a lot of times from a futurist, and he made a picture that the world after Corona would be so nice and peaceful, and the whole human beings transformed to lovely, peaceful animals. And I think this is an option, but not reality. So there was a chance to have a global shift in the mindset to become more nice and peaceful, but this opportunity is already gone. When I'm thinking of my experience on the road, when I'm driving nowadays, there's the aggression back. I don't think that the negative parts who are accompanying us for many decades, like making endless money and being selfish, they are not gone. So I don't think in general people transformed, but what I experience is that individuals, they transform. And that's enough. So if you, for example, change something in your behavior, becoming more helpful, for example, in your environment, that's enough. One person is enough to change the world a little bit to the better. So I don't think it's Corona, it's the question of self-responsibility. So what do you do to contribute that we are going to a bright future? And that's what basically entrepreneurship is about. So if you're becoming an entrepreneur, not only to make money, but in the first step to improve a situation and make this planet a little bit better, then you're on the right track, I guess.
Did you, as an entrepreneur, view Corona as an opportunity or a challenge? Because obviously there's a difference. Some people were hit very hard, but it's obviously, in a way, it's a bit of a perspective thing. It depends what you do or make out of the situation. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah. I think it's always the difference between if you're just talking about the situation or if you are right in the situation. For example, if you're working in a large corporation and you're employed and business is running quite well, and Corona didn't change anything. You get your money, no shortage of work. The only change is you're sitting at home in your home office or working from home and posting nice pictures, smiling on LinkedIn and stuff. You say, well, Corona is nice. But on the other hand, if you are running a hotel or a restaurant, or if you're an artist, a musician, and you're facing a real life and death situation because you're running out of money and cash, then it's a different game. So this is, I think, one part. And if you are facing a real life and death situation, just talking about mindset is too simple, I guess, because you are facing all the emotions. So it's not just think positive. For example, in my case, I'm quite hit by the situation because I'm giving paid keynotes, around 30 to 40 a year, giving a lot of leadership seminars, and both parts went down to zero. So my luck is that I'm also a consultant and coach. So this business is quite well in terms of Corona, but I'm facing minus 50% in revenues. So it's not about life and death because I have savings, because I understood cash is king and queen. So, well, yeah, it's a threat for my business. On the one hand, I'm not getting nervous. I'm waiting. I'm not falling into a lot of actions and becoming hyperactive just to change everything. So I'm waiting a little bit with my team if the normal business can continue as before Corona. And if not, we have to change. And how we will change, we will see. In my new book, which is called Leadership Doesn't Die, I'm forming a term which is most fitting one. And that's what you need to be as a human and as a company. So always be aware of what's going on and change if needed, but don't become too hyperactive.
What drove you to write this book?
Yeah, it's about leadership. So there are so many books about leadership. The question is, why one more book? And I think because this book was missing. A lot of books are about techniques of leadership and management, but when I look into the companies, what I'm experiencing in my projects is that there are still a lot of problems. And what I see is too many weak leaders. And weakness has two sides. One is the egocentric, power-oriented leader. I call him Hannibal Lecter in the management room, so kind of psychopath. And they are really dangerous because you don't see them on the first sight, because they understood they have to cover their ugly face behind a very charismatic and very nice role they can enter. This is a weak leader because they think only in their own goals. And on the other hand, a weak leader is someone who is not decisive, is not having the power and the courage to carry the load of responsibility. So both types are a weak leader. And what we need is strong leadership. And strong leadership does mean being on eyesight level with my people and having something what I call natural authority. And this is not something I get due to my position. I have to earn it due to what I say and due to what I do. So becoming a role model that people want to follow you. And that's what I'm writing about in this book. So I'm taking leadership down from this high-level, sophisticated, elite perspective down to common sense and really pushing you to think about your attitude and if you really want to be a leader.
Thank you so much. We're actually at the end of the interview already, but we at EBSpreneurship have a tradition of always asking a question which is a bit out of the ordinary, so not your typical question. And our question for you is, if you were an object, what would it be?
That's a stupid question. I think I wouldn't exist because an object is dead and I want to be alive. And an object is fixed and I want to change myself. So I cannot imagine of any object I want to be instead of the person I am and the person I can become.
Well, that's also a very valid answer. Definitely very unexpected, but thank you very much. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me today, and hope to see you soon.
Yeah, Carlotta, thank you for the nice and interesting questions, and crossing my fingers that you can continue with your entrepreneurship life and in color next year.